Hello Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine is Serious Business, episode 170. Here with a couple of wines that, they're
super unusual wines.
They're I don't even know how to describe them. They're rosés, but
yep.
they're, one's a Brut, and then one's so clear that it could, if you'll see it in the glass, you couldn't even classify it as rosé.
He's just said, like, he's seen, like, non-skin macerated Pinot Gris that were darker. I'm inclined to agree. Plenty of people would market this as white Pinot Noir.
Totally.
But not these guys. And so we'll start there. This is the Analemma Rosé. Oh no. It's from the Columbia Gorge. There you go. 2011. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure I got that vintage right.
Some interesting,
high altitude stuff on the like up on the slopes of Mount Adams. 1,700 feet. That's
really
huge for this area. That's so high.
I don't know if I've ever heard of grapes being grown that.
Yeah,
altitude,
like I've heard of some stuff in the Willamette Valley, like over 1,000, but even that's like not terribly common. Right. And so this is way up there, and south-facing slopes and old vines. I was shocked when I discovered this. 40-year-old vines. Introduced to this by Doug Culver from C&G. So shout out to you for bringing this stuff around, and I got to meet the couple that makes this at the Truffle Festival in Eugene. So on 2 different occasions I tasted this wine, really liked it. I'm like, man, this is like nerdy and interesting and delicious. I gotta get it on a show, and Chaz has not had it before tonight.
No, both of these wines I haven't had tonight, so excited to try them.
Yeah.
Dan picks.
And this...
That smells wonderful. It's like, that smells really good.
It's like a little bit of like strawberry flavors, like really like perfectly ripe, crisp strawberries. A little bit of something tart, like maybe gooseberry, and then just some kind of like energy to it. It's like just springtime in a glass. Like it's just really alive. It's
got a very, very strange combination, a delicious combination of like red fruit characteristics along with like ripe, either red apple or Honeycrisp apple. No green, no tart. Like it's just got like the sweet apple thing going on, along with a bouquet of like raspberry, strawberry juice. But really,
great complexity on the nose.
It smells rad. This is good.
Super light as it starts in on the palate, and these like crisp red fruits bloom. Like, man, now that you said it, like the Honeycrisp apple is really apt, because you get that kind of acidity settling in on the corners of the palate, kind of making you smile a little bit.
And weighty though. Like there's something. I mean, it's the rosé. Like, you know, how long this was left on the skins. I don't know. Obviously not very long.
Yeah.
Judging by it, or the skins weren't even red when they picked it. Who knows at that elevation? But yeah, it's got like a weightiness to it that's surprising. So.
Again, I'm getting a little bit of the strawberries kind of sitting in the middle of the palate. The front end of it is super light.
Right.
It's just like, you know, pure water, almost like a little bit of minerality, right? A little bit of acidity early, and the fruit kind of blossoms. So, right, seeing that kind of evolution out of a rosé is pretty exciting. It lingers really nicely on the palate, and it's super clean.
You know what it sort of reminds me of? Strawberry, out-of-season strawberries. When they're white, like really white, but like, they're red.
Just starting to get ripe.
And they're just like they're totally white on the inside. That's what it tastes like to me. And just a wonderful amount of acidity on the finish, right? You're talking about the finish dragging on like that. There's a little bit of apple, like the apple juice thing going on the side of the palate, and then just a very, very long expression of acidity, and just very, very well integrated already. Super easy to drink. Yeah.
And this
is good.
This texture like just has this lively feeling to it that just kind of keeps it refreshing. I was telling the first time I took a bottle of this home,
some more.
I probably drank the whole thing myself in like 30 minutes, because it's just so refreshing and easy to drink and pleasant. Yeah, I love it.
I want to hear your score first.
Oh, and it's so tough.
Yeah, I mean this is beautiful wine.
And
honestly,
yeah, and there's not like a crazy amount of complexity or evolution on the palate.
We're ranting and raving about it because it is not normal from the stuff that we drink, right? This is definitely a geeky wine. but I think anyone
What
can
the
understand how delicious this is. But really,
I'm gonna do it. 92 points. I'm loving it. Like, this is not like in the kind of in the same context that a Pinot, like a full-on Pinot Noir would be. But I cannot name another rosé.
this is just serious, though.
I can't name another rosé that I'd rather drink, and this is right up there. This is right up there with like refreshing and enjoyable and smile-inducing with really good Rieslings. I think like it's a similar experience, and man, please make more stuff like this. This is fantastic.
I'm gonna agree. I was 92 points on it as well. Like, this is undeniably good wine. Like, I don't know if I'd call it rosé. Like, I need to pour a full glass and look at it maybe. Like, it looks just like a white wine, but I mean, every bit as serious and as geeky as some of the most interesting wines I've drank this year than last year. Extreme. What's the price point on this?
It is a little more. You know, let's get it right because we're so excited about it. We'll be right back. We're back. We found this list. This is just under $20 retail, killing it for that price point. So,
yeah,
we were talking.
I know. I really don't have that. Go buy it. Like, that's. I'll go buy some. So.
We were talking during the cut too. He said it reminded him of like base wine for champagne.
So when I was tasting it, there's some flavor, the strawberry fruit, and then the minerality on the finish, the way the acidity kind of comes in, reminds me. I was like, the only thing this needs is bubbles. And I was just like, the first thought, like, this is sort of like still champagne. Like, it's awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff. So cheers to the Analemma, guys.
Yeah, and we're off to a great start. On to wine number 2. This is another one that we're really excited about. As soon as we heard this was announced, this is from our friends Barnaby and Olga at the Teutonic Wine Company. They made a Brut Rosé, and they've been, you know, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, they've been known for like high acidity, cool climate, really crisp, kind of geeky wines out of unusual vineyards in Oregon, and kind of like kind of like a little genius in bringing out wonderful things from these unusual places. So
it's really well said.
Yeah, and so when it was announced that they were going to do a rosé, it makes a ton of sense, right? Because a lot of their wines are, you know, like lighter and more acidic already.
Some of their Pinots almost look like rosés.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, on release, the battle wine.
Not quite as high elevation as this stuff, but also like high elevation vineyards. This one in particular is the Wahlstrom Vineyard. This is down by Wilsonville, and it's an old quarry, and so the vines are like growing out of chunks of rock, right? So like tiers in this quarry, and it's all planted with vines, and you know, a cool vineyard for Barnaby to get to work with, and a real chance to, you know, to express like the minerality that's really important with him, and, you know, not a ton of like heavy fruit and ripeness. So it's cool. Pink label, some dancing robots. Hopefully you enjoy that when that came out.
Dancing robots.
Yeah. Ballroom dancing robots.
100 point label.
Yeah. It's cool stuff, and then they put this little like pink tutu on every bottle. We're a little late for a Valentine's Day show, but this is a Valentine's Day like focused release. Wow. And that's a little bit of personal love on every single one of these, hand tied. If I wasn't able to cut the picture into the show, I'll have a link to it down below.
Yeah, he put it up on Facebook, and I was just like, Barnaby. Oh, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, really bringing the love to what he's doing.
Well, let's try this thing out.
Darker in color. A little bit already, even than I mean, obviously than this, but then even some other Brut rosés, right? So there's definitely a little more pink here, or darker,
a little darker color, yeah. That smells wonderful.
Fantastic depth to the nose, like stony and like ripe red cherries, like just a little bit of tart on them, but not like sour.
I don't even know how to, like, it's like a, man, it's like a
great, like icy minerality coming through, I think, too.
So I agree with the cherry thing, but it's like someone took like a fresh peach, and just crushed the juice all over the top of it. Like the spritz of that on the nose, like there's acidity combined with like a stone fruitiness, and then red fruit under it, and it's just, it smells great. It's like I I've had really good rosé champagne that reminds me of that has that sort of aroma, but like this is that without the yeast, right? Like there's normally like a yeast or a sweet thing going on in those that is also fantastic, but this is like that without it. So. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So a note with this too, we like everything we taste it to make sure it's not corked, or we try and do that pretty regularly. This has improved remarkably. Like the first taste, we're like, I'm not quite sure what's going on. It's been not even 30 minutes, and there's so much more depth apparent already.
The peachiness is less apparent for me on the palate. Now it's like more like maybe tending more towards strawberry fruit, but there's also like I wouldn't say like a lemony characteristic, but there's something there that's not red fruit. It's not.
I think it's black pepper. I think there's a cool spicy note going on that mixes well, and like with the darker color, like the fruit has just a touch of darkness to it, as opposed to some of their others are like really light strawberries or like grapefruit, raspberries, stuff like that. This is a little more towards the cherry side, and the pepper gives it a little kick that I like. It keeps it interesting.
And really, texturally, the bubbles are very nice, right? Not overly acidic. So like sometimes bubbles combined with the acidity can kind of go over the top for me. This has a very nice expression, sort of linear and very balanced. Yeah, wonderful. Really, really, some of the best rosé I've had out of Oregon. You don't see many Oregon rosé sparkling wines. Like I think the only thing I've had was from Argyle. Yeah, I think really all I've had is from Argyle, and this is right up there with that. Like easily some of the best stuff. So
I like how there's a little bit of evolution too, where as the bubbles fade, like a little more richness comes in on the palate, and that darker fruit kind of shows itself along with that. You know, then the spice and acidity work together to keep things light and refreshing. But it really gives you a chance to think about it, which, you know, I like all the time in anything.
It's taken a couple sips for me. The first sip, I was like, man, I'm gonna get like a lemon thing or whatever. This is now there's more red fruit apparently, more red fruit apparent on the palate. Like it's more almost like fresh raspberry juice. Like there's a acidic red thing going on there, and wonderful. Yeah, delicious.
Man, this is a great show. We can't stop drinking all of these wines.
Killing it, yeah. Up there with up there with the best sparkling wine I've had from Oregon, easily. The nose is wonderful. The palate is almost as equally wonderful. I think it smells better than it tastes, but the palate is also very nice. And but not detract. I really shouldn't detract from it at all. Like in that characteristic.
Yeah.
Less complex, I guess, on the palate is the nose.
I'm inclined to agree. The other side of that is a lot of their stuff could definitely be more like kind of in a niche market, right? Like if you're really big into the high acidity, like lighter flavors, where this I think has a broad appeal as almost anything I've ever had from them. And with the Valentine's Day theme, right, cool label, stuff like that, it's a really good way to introduce folks who might not be into such austere wines to what they're doing. Like this has like good approachable fruit flavors in addition to a solid structure.
That is that's a really good point. This has a broader appeal, and like I'll totally say it's of the best sparkling wines I've had out of Oregon. 91 plus, awesome. What's the price point?
We're back. It's just under $35. Yeah, again, depending who you're buying it from. But again, like solid, it's not too often that you can get a rosé sparkling wine of substantial quality for that price point at all. Like it's really approachable, I think.
How do you think this would do in like a blind champagne tasting if it was paired up with some other rosés? Obviously, come off a bit drier. The yeast is not as apparent, but the fruit, right? There's some wonderful expression.
I think it's solid. I think the yeast is like where you're hitting it. I think so, like if you love a little bit of that like croissant or a little bit of biscuit in your champagne, like
this
that's not bringing that to the table. But some people hate that, right? Like you've met people that this tastes too much like bread. If I want bread, I'll go eat bread. I don't want to drink it in my sparkling wine.
Great point.
They would love something like this.
Wonderful. Yeah, you got a
I do. 91 points for me as well.
I think 91 plus. 91 plus.
You did not, yeah. And I'm gonna stand by this. Like, let it open up and enjoy it. You know, enjoy it over time. Like, really think about it because you know, like a lot of their stuff, it doesn't leap out and smack you in the face with what it's got. Like, for it to really get like the complexity, like you gotta give it a little bit of focus and think about it. But that's rewarding.
These are two wines I can completely, 100% recommend you go buy. They are rad. They are really good.
And like if
you're watching this show, you're kind of a wine geek.
Yeah, we were like kind of excited. Like, yeah, this could be a pretty good show tonight. These are delivering in spades. In a lot of ways, this is like what we're here to do: shine some light on wines from Oregon that don't get a lot of attention nationally. And for those of you who don't live in Oregon, like I've been trying to put links to the wineries at the bottom of the shows, or if you're looking at us on the blog, I hot link the names when I put them in the text. Okay. So like click through, send them an email, ask them how you can get their wine. Yeah, this is like great stuff, but it's all small production, right? You gotta send the emails, make some contacts, and I really think it's worth your time because nobody else in the world is making wine like this. Like, this is unique.
Agreed.
This is unique to where it comes from, and really encourage you to check it out.
All right, so question of the day.
Question of the day. I bought a used car today, so a Buick LeSabre.
Just like his last one.
Yeah, that's what I drove the last time. It lasted me. Actually, it's still alive, and it lasted for over 10 years.
What's the mileage?
With, over 250,000 miles.
That's significant.
No engine problems. Like, I haven't had engine work done on it even once. And the biggest repairs have been due to things that I've done. For example, driving through huge ruts up on a concrete bridge that just didn't work out right. But you can't blame the car for stuff like
Park every year.
Drive to Glacier Park every year. Driven back and forth to Minnesota a few times. It moved me out from Minnesota, so I love it so much. Found another one with low miles. Like, I get another 10 years out of it.
That's success right there.
Yeah, and so I'm digging it. It's not terribly sexy, but it's reliable.
Your new one looks a lot better than your old one.
Thanks. All right.
I like it in white.
All right. So our question today is just, what was the last vehicle you bought? You can tell a little story about it in the comments too. We'd like to hear that. So
I bought a Supermoto recently.
Nice.
A WR250X Yamaha. So for the summer, a lot of braps. But
is that for the road or is that for trails?
No, it's for the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just for hooning around on the roads, like really being a jackass. But
nice.
Love to hear what you guys have purchased recently or into. So
thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We really did. So
yeah.
See you next week.
Awesome.